Anatahan Island is located about 100 kilometers from Saipan Island. 77 kilometers to the north is a small island, Mariana Islands, in the Pacific Ocean. During World War II, to have 32 men and one woman, Japanese woman, stranded on this island in 6 years, they had 2 guns and one, the only woman on the island, happened. Series of absurd stories that made many, the deceased, and finally the woman, 32 women, survived. Only men left, 19 people. So what happened on the island, that deserted island you are watching? Massacre. On Anatahan Island, a woman living on deserted island with 32 people, men on the innocent channel, are real and like a routine before going into the main content. Don't forget to click like, subscribe encouragement. You are spirit at the same time. Update. New, thrilling and exciting cases. Best year 1939. Under the encouragement of the policy domestically, many citizens of Japan migrated to the islands that Japan occupied to work and live. Kayuko here, only 16 years old, is also one of them. That number, she has gone through a long way from Okinawa, Japan, to Saipan Island. The purpose of this trip is to find a place. Uncle An and his brother. After a long time, she found a job. Staff at a young Keijo cafe, beautiful and loyal, should receive. Attention admired by many boys. Among them was the young man from Okinawa, Shichi Higa, the lucky guy, chased after Kayuko. And after a while they got married when Kayuko was 18 years old. Kiss each other because of the land area of Japan. The copy was so small that the Japanese government forced it. Settlers and invaders of many islands in Pacific. Main job of Shichi is the supervisor of the labor of some workers on the island. At this time, Kuko's life after marriage is very happy. Good luck in the year. In 1944, Shichi's job changed. He was transferred to the island Anatahan, should have brought his wife along. Kajukimbo, about 177 kilometer long. This small island is shaped like an oval shape, about 9 kilometer long and about 9 kilometers wide, 3.7 kilometer area. Of nearly 32 kilometer V, on the Islander volcano, about 7 to 90 meters high, there are also many large varieties of coconuts. Crazy rumor of growing melons. Before every strong, but then destroyed by storm decline at that time, only about 20 people left. Indigenous people still work here. Shichi's job is to manage and supervise them. Not long after they arrived on the island Anatahan, World War II has gradually ending. It can be said that Japan is losing in those battles is one disastrous defeat on the Thai battlefield Bin Duong. Many islands were originally occupied by Japan. The occupation was gradually taken over by the US military.
Recapture now. Thinking of you, my girl, is still on an island nearby. He was worried about the safety of sister. Should have left Anatahan Island to visit her. No one expected that he'd go and never come back again. At that time, this place has only a few villagers left.
The only Japanese remaining on the island, Ichikajo, and Soichi's boss is the boss Kiku Ichiro, and under the harsh ass, so the two became close friends, each other, and quickly started living together, starting life as a couple. Unfortunately, the peace of the Islandanen cannot be maintained forever. Soon after, the island was also bombed by the US military. Kayuko and Kiku Ichiro lived in the neighborhood jungle in the middle of the island and lucky to survive. However, after such a bombing raid, the plantations on the island were completely destroyed. Destroyed almost all the goods. The day and the essentials were also burned. Also lost all contact with the outside world. Out of Anatahan Island has really become an isolated island, but luckily all 40 the pigs and 20 chickens they raised also successfully escaped the war, and here is an opportunity for them to rely on and live only need to take care of them carefully. They have a peaceful life, but the world between two people does not last. After a while, something unexpected happened. Released on June 12, 2018, 1944, 4 fishing boats were attacked by the U.S. military near Anatahan Island, in which the ship sank to the bottom of the sea. The remaining ship was also badly damaged and sank. Soon after, many crew members died. Network, among which there is a boat sunk not far from Anatahan Island, so the survivors tried to swim back. The last island had 31 survivors, successfully swam to the island with 10 people in it. That number was 21 Japanese naval soldiers. The rest are all ordinary sailors, are all young men, the youngest, only 16 years old, no boat, so there is no way to leave them, just can live temporarily on this island, based on some wild bananas and coconuts to help them quatak at first. These 31 people thought this was a hungry, just a deserted island, so no inhabited and isolated from the outside world, until one day when they, while picking wild fruits, I met Kuko and Kikuichiro. Both of them lived in the world, had only 2 people for a while space, so when seeing a lot of people coming, so they both were very happy. Anyway, on this island, besides they are Japanese, so everyone is native, so it's very difficult to communicate. Suddenly there are many Japanese people come here to meet their ancestors. Fellow countrymen, fake couple Kayuko and Kikuichiro, enthusiastically helped them. He not only shared his food, I also treat their wounds. Initially, 31 people survived. Divide into small groups to live in different places, but after, this is something everyone has gotten used to and lived with each other, including Keijo and Kikuichiro. When as the number of people increases, the first thing that needs to be done is, the solution is the problem of food and clothing. Soon they had eaten all the pigs and chickens on the island, only have wild fruits, and wild foods such as crabs and they can also fish for other seafood. Stay on the island so as not to go hungry after securing food, ensure enough food. They also learn how to make coconut wine and enjoy it as is. Human instinct for food is gone. Another problem is that it is easy to wear. They had clothes before, but after a long time clothes have torn under, so they used tree bark as some rudimentary tools to cover the body, and so on. 33 times the islanders lived in peace, more peaceful than the grave years, until one day, August 15, 1945, Japan was completely defeated and surrender declaration. However, those who in this island without knowing, after the US military then transmitted this news, people still living on the island, but they don't believe it, and they think this is an American plot, and refuses to leave Iceland. But the indigenous people on the islands still leave one by one, and finally, there are only 33 people left on this island. Japan lives isolated from the world at this time. Life seemed peaceful. The head has a very different male to female ratio. Imbalance has made most men have a different view on Keijo and think they are all young men full of vitality, unusual atmosphere. The industry becomes more serious. If there is no prevention, there will certainly be chaos. Happens, so some people are smart, and the kind one among them suggested Kayuko and Kikuichiro hold a wedding in front of everyone. The purpose is to let everyone know that Kuko Hashi has an owner, don't pay attention to her anymore, and after the wedding, the couple left. Away from the crowd and live independently, this really effective island life has returned to peace as expected. However, not long after that, life was peaceful. The vase was broken again. Mid-August 1946, the wreckage of the US military bomber found on the island, which has a lot of many household items such as umbrellas, can be made into clothes, in addition to 4 broken pistols and 90 rounds of ammunition. You know there are people on the island who used to do it. Soldiers should know how to use guns very well, Master, and last 2 of 4, the broken gun has been repaired. Now equal life no more. On this isolated island, who has a gun, the person holding the gun is symbolic of power. He who has power can command others. The appearance of these 2 guns completely changed the numbers. The fate of the 33 people above, first of all, call 2 gunsmiths, are Yamamoto and Yamagi. They immediately become the ruler of a group of people. This, and because they are rulers, they want hold on to the best things for yourself that they want most. On this island, no, what more doubt, definitely righties Keijo Higa. 2 people used guns to force Keijo and her husband submit under pressure. The power of power. Kayuko cannot, what else can only silently endure. But things are not as simple as that. So where? Not long after that on the island. This was the first fatality. Man falls from coconut tree to the ground, and only Yamamoto and Yamagi died. The only accidental witness to the deceased previously had a mic chain with Yamamoto and others. This makes one cannot help but doubt that this person's departure is related to Yamamoto and Yamagi. This makes people no gun start worrying about safety. All of mine, however, Yamamoto not care, but become more arrogant. More than one person has a plot to commit an offense. Kayuko was also killed by them. This action shot makes people. The more panicked they became, the more worried they became. Next time it will be my turn to have problems. Everyone's attention was gone aimed at Kuko, but 2 guns. This atmosphere on the island becomes stress and pressure. If asked who is most afraid, at this point it is definitely the husband. Kayuko has to live all day under supervision. Yamamoto and Yamaguchi's observation may be a 1 day. If not, please, they will come out hand with him immediately. So Kikuichiro came up with a plan. He went find Yamamoto and Yamaguchi and tell them that he will not live with Kayuko anymore and leave her to them. Yamamoto and Yaguchi happily praised Kikuichiro is a smart person, but no one knew that was the plan. He has a saying like this: outsiders know better. Faced with this situation, Kuko was clear as an outsider before. Yamamoto and Yamaguchi both have guns, so they are very united to defend together outside pressure. Now both are the same time occupying Kayuko, without people. Third, they join because of their human instincts. Will certainly arise the intention of appropriation Kayuko for herself. This will make increased conflict between the 2 people, and maybe one day they will become the one. Enmity between them did not last long. Yamamoto and Yamaguchi fought fiercely rush to get Kayuko after the war. Yamaguchi won by this. Yamaguchi not only captured the only woman on Peach Blossom Island, also owns 2 iconic guns for power. This makes people are both annoyed and disgusted when the overwhelm and the monopoly of the strong is too obvious. Then, of course, the weak will have to fight back. Yamaguchi still thinks that happy days, his luck has come, he can become the emperor reigned here. However, not long after that, Yamaguchi suddenly died. Suddenly everyone said that I fell into the sea and drowned, but which in fact everyone knows clearly, the real reason he died, it's just that no one speaks up. And so Yamaguchi's 2 guns fell again into the hands of 2 other people, their names being Nakawa and Iwa. They also immediately seized. Kajoshi was forced to serve again. These 2 people, this picture, how come so familiar that 2 people own it? Guns simultaneously seized Keijo and Breedus. Not long before, Yamaguchi and Yamamoto did the same thing. But in the end, all did not have good results, Outsiders can see everything clearly. Things will repeat, but the people in the life is invisible. Life on the island became peaceful more than a month. Trouble happened again. The conflict between Nakawa and Iwai has erupted. Out after another war. W is human, win, and now 2 guns. The guns on the island were put back into hand. A person and, just like before, Kayuko alone occupied the situation at that time. This is exactly like last time, but Iwai learned from the previous. Leslie is very careful in daily life for fear of being hurt, destroyed at any time, and so Oniwai has had a smooth 2 years. Advantage, but it seems fate has decided 2 years later, and one day, EW was robbed other assassinations in the next few years. The deadly fog continues to cover Anatahan Island. On the island has 3 more. People died from various accidents. In total, 9 people have died. People on the outside don't say it, but inside I know they are all at a loss. Lives because of gunfire, so those people, the rest decided to sit down and discuss, resolve this issue after conversation and sharing the results discussed are 2, the gun is the main cause, and to put an end to the fear and dread they had mentioned. Came up with a plan to let Kayuko choose, 1 to marry, then throw 2 guns into the sea. Like that, no weapon left, representing power to Kuko, has also, someone owns it, so no one needs to worry with others too. Here seems like a reasonable plan, right? So everyone agreed.
And do so. But will this really solve the fundamental problem or not? Actually, it is not like that. In the following days, on the island still has 4 cases. Life and strange disappearance are clearly 2. The gun was thrown into the sea, so why? Why are
there still people having problems at this time? Everyone on the island was worried about myself in just 5 short years. There were originally 32 men present. Only 19 people left to stop the situation. In this situation, everyone is forced to sit down and meet again after the chat story and share the results a second time. This time, it was an assassination due to greed. The gun represents power. If not, it can only be love. Greed for women only. This leads to such a situation. They finally made a decision. Boldly solve Keijo. Only this can eliminate all desires, people, and life on the newly formed island return to normal. After reaching an agreement, they decided to solve Keijo the next day. But that evening, there was a person. The man who loved Kayuko deeply revealed this information to her, and after heard that she had changed color and searched all night. How to escape into the woods by instinct survival. Kuko lives a miserable life day by day in the canyons of this island, area of nearly 32 kilometers V, and everywhere is forest. So those men if want to find Kuko for a while, short is not a thing so easy. June 2016, 195. On the 33rd day, Kuko ran away from her, surprised to find a warship of the United States is anchored off the coast of Kajo. Immediately climbed up a tree branch and take off the clothes you are wearing. Call and shout this action very loudly. Kayuko's has attracted the attention of U.S. military and was eventually rescued. She survived the island. This haunt, after hearing Kajukenbo, still has survivors and notify their families of those who refused to leave the island, began write a letter to let people at home know that the war was over and they can quickly return home soon after. More than 200 letters were sent to the island. However, the people on the island still assert that this is a trap. Due to the U.S. military has raised and continued to refuse leave. June 26, 1951, island has, the man on the island was convinced that the letter you received was handmade, his wife's special. So he believes what the US military said is true in the end together. He convinced the others on the island accept reality. They failed, and then they surrendered US military and rescued from the island. These people were taken to the military
base.
US presence in Guam first, then their turn to Japan after being missing for many years, so everyone assumed they had died on the battlefield. So when they returned back home, many of their wives remarried, and even Kuko's ex-husband is Shichiga. Also has a new marriage, happy to be asked by the media on the whereabouts of 13 unaccounted for men, back to the testimonies of those whose survival is inconsistent. This make people doubt that the truth is only revealed when there is one person faced with great pressure and unable to conceal further than the means. The media reported that this man fought for the woman who caused the devastation. The police have had a wide-ranging reportage that Haskaju Kiga suddenly became the center of attention public opinion and become famous in society. Japan Media Association has give Kuko a lot of nicknames. Queen Anatahan Island woman with 32 faces. The face of the female lord seduces men. Although there are also some means, the media has shown sympathy. With Kayuko, she had no choice when it came to living. Forced to live in such a situation, humiliation and compromise. However, the media still shows contempt, despise and condemn Keijo's case, become a controversial topic in Japanese society at that time. Keijo was later invited to play the main role. In the play Anatahan Island from 1952, she has been touring the country all year round. In 2 years, in 1953, the story happened out on Anatahan Island, adapted into a movie called This is the Truth about Anatahan Island. The movie recreates part of the true story of Kajoshe. Also took on the role of himself in the movie acting career drag. After a few years, Kayuko could not continue on this path, and eventually, to make a living, Kayuko works as a dancer.
Tokyo. When Keijo was 34 years old, she remarried after. Then she and her husband opened a small shop and started a new life full of simplicity. But unfortunately, happy days' happiness does not last long. Kuko lost her husband when she was over 40 years old.
In March 1974, Kuko passed away from brain tumor at the age of 18. Around 50 years old, ended a full life, her standard. The Anatahan Island incident only happened on an island, but it also reflects common problems still existing in society. Human society, when human morality is lost, go beyond the constraints of the law and the fight. The original survival painting was reactivate under boost in a common environment, animal or human part in. Each person, it is very difficult to be it. Is up to you to decide only those. The winner has the right to speak. At that time, competition on the island was about power. He who has the gun has the power. Today's struggles are shifting from power to money and beauty. A quote from a novel said like this: "Fish climbed ashore is no longer a fish. The people on Anatahan Island were isolated. From human society, we will probably cannot call them human anymore. People believe that the appearance of two guns and a single woman what caused this tragedy, but in reality it is not like that. The gun was just the spark that really caused the fire."
As human nature's desire, people are always unbearable. The challenge of the woman's appearance, the only woman on the island, and the gun just a catalyst to speed up the process. The course of subsequent disputes, then the islanders pointed, quote Keijo, and
claim that she brings air of death and horror. For the island, they also intended to harm her, but they have thought about what if each person who can control his desires, then will the outcome change. As for Kayuko, clearly deserves them, we sympathize. Right after the incident, there are still some media criticize her. Practically, she is a weak under force and violence. There is really no other way, acceptance and submission to some people, then one can ask that after many years living on an island. Why? Doesn't Kayuko have about this issue after finding out? There are also many related articles, and there is also no reasonable explanation. Any given statement could also mean she was unwanted. Pregnancy and subsequent miscarriage too lead to infertility later. Kayuko did some work while filming Return to Japan. This is not recommended, but she was in the media widely and became a famous name, most of which are reviews negative prices, and to continue to survive in this situation, she has a choice different, or how this event clearly shows the fear of the human heart can be, because that's where the rules of law come in, rates and other issues. These not only protect some U groups, but more importantly,
It maintains the balance in society, and you think, what about the story on Anatahan Island? Think, what about our girl Keijo? Does it deserve negative reviews?
is it that extreme? Leave a comment right below the comment section. We will together, and before leaving, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to stay updated. Classic Case Best.